As many of you guys know, Superman the Escape from Krypton has closed permanently at Six Flags. And I've come up with a way to replace the ride that just sounds ridiculous, exactly like what Six Flags would do. Try to compete with other parks. I know this coaster would probably cause a lot of problems and close a lot, but who cares? I mean, Accelerator at Knott's closes a lot with just as many issues. So, yeah, this attraction is titled Superman Unbound, and it's going to be America's first 500-foot double launch Stratocoaster. Yes, it will pass the 500-foot mark, and it's a really ridiculous ride experience. So, for the first launch, the trains launch forward from the station, accelerating rapidly towards the first top hat. The launch speed is crucial to crest the first peak, and the speed of this launch will be 115 miles per hour. The first top hat, yes, the first top hat. The train rockets up the 460-foot top hat, providing a sensation of weightlessness at the apex before rapid descent. The descent could incorporate standard 90-degree twist or a spiral for added thrill. After the first top hat, the train transverses through a series of highly banked turns and introduces G-forces and sends you to a separate track. The second launch, the separate track launches you up a vertical spike element as seen on Top Thrill 2, where it ascends a few seconds before falling backwards. The momentum from the vertical spike sends the train soaring backwards up a 550-foot top hat. This is the signature element of the coaster, offering a unique sensation of climbing a massive height the opposite direction. The top speed of this coaster is 130 miles per hour. That's the top speed. Following the second top hat, the train continues backwards through the same series of curves to decelerate and descend. The train goes through a series of camelback hills Finally, the train returns to the station for braking and unloading. Now, yes, what kind of launch system will this ride have? If this ride were to open at Six Flags Magic Mountain, it would probably be fitted with a linear synchronous motor system, because hydraulics are kind of dated. And yes, Intamin would design this coaster. That's set in stone. The idea I'm having for this coaster would be basically accelerator doubled, but with an additional vertical spike. And two extremely tall top hats, which, yes, that will be pretty crazy. Especially the backwards top hat. That's something I would love to just ride. The backwards top hat is insane. It's gonna be backwards over 550 feet. Now, yes, you're probably wondering what the trains are gonna be like. And luckily for you, I have it. On the next slide, the trains will have a double restraint system with T-shaped lap bars and over-the-shoulder restraints. Let me move this over. Yeah, so the coaster would have T-shaped lap bars and over-the-shoulder restraints. Because of the high speeds and extreme inclines, and realistically speaking, the amount of trains this ride can run is up to 2 trains that seats 36. Because 3 trains would create the problem of actually incorporating a launch schedule where that works, and it isn't really necessary for this coaster. Yes, it's a first of its kind thrill coaster that features not 1 but 2 top hats. It is a forwards and backwards launch coaster, essentially like what Superman was originally, but with an accelerator look to it. As you're loaded into the train, you won't know what you're in for because its thrill turned up to 11. And for a coaster that would be thrill turned to up to an 11, like, you need some really good safety restraints. Why I think the double restraints are necessary for this coaster is not just because of the high speeds and incline, but just with the lap bar, the first launch will throw you forward. I mean, if you don't want to be thrown forward at 115 miles per hour, yeah, I wouldn't want to be thrown forward at that high of a speed. And I'm assuming people wouldn't want to be thrown forward at that kind of a speed. So that's why I find that two kinds of restraints are necessary. The second launch will keep you back in your seats. It's just the first launch that's the problem. LSM would be the cable that is used for the first launch, and LIM would be the cable that's used for the second launch. Yeah. And this coaster will be like pretty expensive to run. But that doesn't matter. It's just, I think this would be a great way for Six Flags to replace Superman Escape from Krypton. And it will still be a skyline dominating coaster and still go forwards and backwards like Superman. So no, it would actually be a double LSM launch coaster because you'd be launching forwards up a vertical spike that's slightly taller than the top hat following. And yes, people are wondering, what about Lex Luthor? Well, I also have a plan accumulated for that. Replacement that is attached to the 550-foot top hat, and it's essentially like a free fall ride that's above 500 feet. That would be located on the backwards top hat But even if this coaster was to open at Six Flags in the near future, the plot of land that Superman sits on is very small. I went on Superman Escape of Krypton plenty of times. I'm a California local, so I mean, it's ultimately, yes, and I am a Superman fan, and I am a fan of the ride. I'm a fan of the character and a fan of the ride, so whenever anything Superman related comes out, I'm like, yes. I've even made a few movies where I star as the character. Gorgeous pieces of work. But for this coaster to open, Six Flags would need essentially enough land to open it. And I don't think they would plan to open something this crazy in the future, because again, it's got a 460 foot and a 550 foot top hat. 460 foot top hat essentially would be like King Dekal's top hat. Is you're launching forwards and traveling really fast to a high speed of 115 miles per hour, because I want to save the top speed of the ride for the big top, because you'd want to save the speed for the big top hat. And yes, the 115 and 130 are just advertised speeds. For the rides, really more like 119, 120 miles for the really tall backwards top hat, but take 11 miles off the speed. So really more like operating at 104 miles per hour for the forwards top hat, and 119 or 120 for the backwards top hat. And like I said before, it would be a double accelerator. It would be basically doubling accelerator the ride at Knott's Berry Farm, with an additional vertical spike that helps build momentum for the second launch. So really you're launching forwards at that vertical spike, and then you're going back and over and through the second, yeah. And yes, Intamin would be making this ride. For the shoulder restraints, I'm thinking kind of like close, like X2's restraint system. The T-shaped lap bars are just going to be T-shaped lap bars like on Accelerator. But the restraint system that goes over your shoulders is going to be like X2's. And the train can seat up to 36 riders, like the train on Accelerator. That's why there's only 2 trains running. If it was 18 riders a train, maybe I would consider running 3 or 4 trains. But again, even if it was 18 riders, still I would want to run 2 trains. Because it's going to take a while for the train to kind of get back to the station and yeah, you basically wait for the train to go to the second track before launching the second train. And that cycle repeats. 36 riders is yeah, it's a lot for Six Flags. $18 riders seems more realistic, but 36 riders a train would make it so that, okay, there's 9 rows. Yeah, there's 9 rows of 2. Yeah. And yes, the queue is themed like Brainiac's ship because the theming of the ride is Superman Unbound. The queue looks like what it would look like inside a Brainiac ship. I mean, this ride would be perfect for a Six Flags park, but probably not as perfect for Six Flags. It's honestly a perfect idea for a Superman replacement because it honors the forwards and backwards and basically anything else. But because of space limitation and stuff, the plot of land that Superman's on is tiny. The station is considerably tiny, but at least that's what I remember from times when I wrote it. Like, well, yes, any Six Flags station is freaking tiny. Except for maybe like Full Throttle Goliath. X2, like they're bigger rides. Superman is one of the big rides there that didn't have as big of a station. And yes, I would honestly make the station bigger for this ride for the queue to actually work. You'd be walking through Brainiac's ship, and it's for a fun ride that is quite a behemoth of a ride. Yes, it's a wild dream of a ride. Yes. When I originally dreamt up this ride, it was going to have an 100-mile launch for the first launch and an 115-mile-per-hour launch for the second launch. But the height of this second top hat was so freaking insane that the height of each top hat was so freaking insane, that I had to make the ride 15 miles faster. Yep. So, in the park, yes, 104 for the first launch. And, like, 119, 120 for the second one. With fully loaded trains. With an LSM system, this ride will work. The system is linear synchronous, so yeah, some extra track before you hit the spike of the first top hat. Yes, this ride will definitely have G-force. And yes, the queue will play Superman music as the queue for the original Superman ride did from Superman movies throughout the years. The Donner movies, the Superman Returns, which surprisingly not a lot of people like, and even Remy Zero's music and the legendary Lois and Clark theme will play in the circulating in the queue of this ride, so you feel hyped for the ride. And yes. If you're wondering how loud it would sound, it would be loud. Yes, the track would be red, yellow, and blue, just like the old ride. Probably putting the blue on the top hats and the red and yellow on launch tracks and other parts of the coaster. As Superman is more blue than red and yellow in terms of the suit, so and that leaves the color scheme for the trains. Obviously, yes. The restraints will have a lot of logos from different Supermans. From Superman Returns, the Donner Superman, Man of Steel, and even the latest Superman movie out. But yes, the logo of the ride will be the latest logo. One train will be with the oldest Superman logo at the front of the train, like the 1930s one. And the other train will be a Kingdom Come themed train. So, yes, the theming of the trains is pretty awesome. This is a ride I would ride Six Flags for. And this ride would totally dominate the skyline. It would be insane for this actually to replace Superman Escape from Krypton in the light that it's titled Superman Unbound, and it's basically Superman Unbound. It's an awesome ride that I would check out. But yes, the problems it would have running, breaking down, many launch coasters, you'd expect them to come with a lot of problems. Not after first opening, though. But yes, this coaster couldn't run over it. Well, yes, it couldn't run without the second track working. because the second track is the big event of the ride. It also would be a pretty extreme coaster. And I would delve deeper into my Lex Luthor ride. That ride will probably have plenty of issues too. Starting with drop speed being faster than the drop ride currently. This coaster would probably take longer to build than usual, because it is a behemoth of a coaster, and Six Flags is known for behemoths of coasters. But like I said, this is like a roller coaster that's thrill turned up to an 11, only existing at a fictional theme park that's somewhere in Idaho. Yeah. Anyway, so yes, this coaster would be amazing for Six Flags. It's ridiculous, but it would be really, really cool for Six Flags to open a coaster that's over 500 feet tall. I've outdone myself tremendously. Like, you don't know. I also like to dream big. Yes, I'm the one who made up this theme park. But yeah, this is my idea for a replacement for Superman: The Escape from Krypton.